Welcome to the TonAI podcast. Today, we have a fascinating topic to discuss the use of AI in education. Our guest is a leading expert in this field with extensive experience in teaching AI writing tools to students. He has seen firsthand the impact of these tools on student learning and is here to share his insights with us. Can you tell us about your experience using AI tools in your classes this semester?
Yes, of course. I fully embraced AI for my classes this semester, requiring students to use AI tools in a number of ways. This policy attracted a lot of interest, and I thought it worthwhile to reflect on how it is going so far. The short answer is great.
So, how did you require AI use in your classes?
I required AI use in slightly different ways across 3 separate undergraduate and master's level entrepreneurship and innovation classes. One class was built on extensive AI use. I required students to use AI to help them generate ideas, produce written material, help create apps, generate images, and more. Another class had assignments that required students to use AI, and other assignments where AI was optional. For the final class, I introduced them to AI tools and suggested their use, but did not have specific AI assignments.
Did you provide any guidance to your students on using AI tools?
Yes, I provided every class with my guides to using AI, writing with chat, and generating ideas with chat.
That sounds interesting. What are some early lessons you have learned from this experience?
One lesson I have learned is that the newbie AI can be more capable than chat. I think it will hasten even more AI integration into our teaching. Another lesson is that using AI can be extremely helpful for students in generating ideas and producing written material. But it is important to provide guidance and clear instructions on how to use the tools effectively.
Would you recommend other educators to incorporate AI tools into their teaching?
Yes, absolutely. Based on my experience so far, using AI tools can be very beneficial for both students and educators.
Can you tell us about the issues teachers are experiencing with AI essays?
Yes, I have been hearing reports from teachers about how they are seeing lots of badly written AI essays, even though chat is capable of quite good writing.
Oh, do you have any insight into why this might be happening?
Yes, I think I know why. Almost everyone's initial attempts at using AI are bad. In one assignment, I asked students to cheat by having an AI generate a 5-paragraph essay on a topic relevant to the lessons they have learned in the class so far. They had to try at least 5 prompts and write a reflection at the end on how the AI did.
What were the results of the assignment?
Almost everyone's first prompts were very straightforward, like generate a 5-paragraph essay on selecting leaders. Sometimes they went a little further and added instructions to use an academic tone or write it for an MBA class. However, the result was almost always a mediocre essay. I think this is what most teachers are seeing, and why a lot of people underestimate what chat can do as a writing tool.
Do you have any advice for educators who want to use AI tools in their classes?
Yes. My advice would be to provide clear instructions and guidance on how to effectively use AI tools. Encourage students to experiment with different prompts and encourage them to be creative in their use of the tools. Additionally, it's important to remember that AI tools are not a replacement for critical thinking and writing skills. Encourage students to use the AI tools as a supplement to their own writing process, not a replacement for it.
Can you tell us about the different approaches students took when using AI for essay writing?
Sure. I require my students to use multiple prompts for generating their essays, which force them to think about how to improve their output. I observed that students went in one of 3 directions.
Can you elaborate on these 3 approaches?
Sure. The first approach was to make minor variations to the initial prompt and let the AI do the work. For example, a prompt on selecting leaders was followed by prompts on how leaders are selected by teams and how team process works, among others.
What was the second approach?
The second approach was adding restrictions and user knowledge. For instance, a prompt on selecting leaders was followed by prompts on selecting leaders, covering the Babel hypothesis, leader status effects, and seniority. This approach also required students to explain the Babel effect and take the perspective of a management consultant who has gone back for her MBA.
And what about the third approach?
The third approach was co-editing. In this approach, a prompt on selecting leaders was followed by a discussion between the student and the AI to improve the essay. For example, correcting the third paragraph and adding more details about how the Babel effect is used. Additionally, this approach required students to include examples that featured storytelling and vivid language.
How did these different approaches affect the quality of the essays?
Well, the initial prompts were usually straightforward and resulted in mediocre essays. However, by using multiple prompts and exploring different approaches, students were able to improve the quality of their essays and take full advantage of AI as a writing tool.
Can you explain why the co-editing approach was the best?
With the co-editing approach, students had to carefully examine the AI output and make adjustments, which led to better learning outcomes. Additionally, teaching an AI to improve an essay is a pedagogical method that can produce new insights. It's also worth noting that students using the co-editing approach felt more in control of the essay's output and were more satisfied with the results.
One concern that some educators have expressed is the fact that AI can sometimes lie. Did you encounter this issue with your students?
Yes, that was definitely a concern that I had going into it. But what I found was that my students were very aware of the limitations of the AI tools, and they took responsibility for fact-checking the information that was generated by the AI. In fact, this led to some really interesting learning opportunities as we discussed the nuances of the prompts and the information that was being generated.
So it sounds like you were able to turn the issue of potential lies into a teachable moment.
Exactly. By emphasizing the importance of fact-checking and encouraging my students to engage deeply with the concepts being presented, we were able to create some real opportunities for learning.
Another concern that educators have raised is the issue of bias in AI systems. Did you encounter any issues with bias in the AI tools you were using?
Yes, we definitely had some discussions about bias in the AI systems. The image generation tools in particular were a concern, as they tended to produce biased images that reflected certain stereotypes. But once again, my students were very aware of these issues, and they were able to engage in thoughtful discussions about how to get the AI systems to produce images that were more reflective of the diversity of our student body.
It sounds like using AI tools in the classroom can be a really effective way to engage students in deeper learning and critical thinking.
Absolutely. By using AI as a tool to facilitate learning, rather than relying on it as a crutch, we can create some really interesting and meaningful learning experiences for our students.
Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your insights on AI-powered essay writing. Professor, it's clear that there are both challenges and opportunities in using these tools in the classroom, but with the right approach and guidance, they can be powerful tools for student learning and engagement. Before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts or advice for educators who are considering incorporating AI into their teaching?
Well, I would say that it's important to remember that AI is not a silver bullet. It's not going to magically solve all of our problems or replace human expertise. But it is a valuable tool that can help students learn and grow in new ways. My advice would be to approach AI-powered essay writing with an open mind. Be prepared to experiment and iterate. And most importantly, keep the focus on student learning and engagement. As we've seen in our research, when used correctly, AI can be a powerful pedagogical tool that enhances rather than replaces human teaching and learning.
Thank you for joining us today on this fascinating discussion about AI and education. We hope you found it insightful and thought-provoking. If you want to learn more about AI and stay updated on the latest developments in this field, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We'll be releasing more podcasts on this topic, as well as other topics related to technology and education. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more exciting content. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.